Hello, Carolyn Mustard here from the Joy of Drawing, and I fell in love with this photo. This is not the greatest print of it, but it's of a wood in Great Britain, full of bluebells in spring, and it completely reminded me of my childhood when I grew up in Cornwall, and as a result, I did this watercolor with my class. We give classes on drawing, watercolor, gouache, acrylic, etc. On our website, thejoyofdrawing.org. So and here I showed myself right here, kind of warily walking up the hill, which I did. I must have been about 10 years old, and this was a wood at the bottom of the valley where I lived in Tydeford, Cornwall. And I would venture up through the wood, which was a little bit scary for a youngster, up to the very tippy top and through the bluebells, which would scrunch under my feet. So I thought that was kind of fun to do. And but I also began a gouache of the same view, but from a different perspective. So this one here, and I'm going to finish this in my class today, in my workshop video. And then, you can follow along or you can watch it and enjoy it. So this is the gouache that I've got going, and it is on black paper. So the black paper I'm using is nothing fancy. It's actually a Canson, no, it's a Strathmore Artigan black paper, and 9x12. And I'm using different types of gouache paint. So the ones that I tend to favor a lot are these ones here by Caran d'Ache. So these come in these little flat, and just sort of a bit like watercolor. And so you have to mix it in a little bit, and you can see I've run out of certain colors. This one, or they fell out and I don't know where they went. So I have to get a new one. But generally speaking, I like this because it's very portable and easy to use. And gouache is water-based, so it reconstitutes like watercolor. So now people always go, well, what brushes do you use? Whoa, I never know what brushes I use. But one thing I do maintain is don't use your decent brushes that you use for watercolor, because it'll tend to gung them up. It's a much thicker paint, and I tend to use it quite thickly. So what I did with this is I drew out the shape of the tree. I drew this diagonal, and then I very lightly added on some yellow and some sort of bluish, greenish color, just to sort of get things started. And then I put some white on a brush, and I took the brush, and I took another brush, and I then tapped it like this. That's got white with some water added, and then this spattered it, which sort of gave it, got me to get going, So I'm not really, at this point, following the photograph. What I recommend is you kind of start maybe with a photograph, but I basically believe in the Cézanne approach of constructing your own space. So I'm constructing my own space in this. I'm not like following along. So the first thing I have to do, which can be a little bit tricky, is I need to mix this lovely pinky blue color that I'm going to be using. And I've got some white here. I do not care for this white particularly, but I'll use it up. This white, so I'm putting a little bit of a darker blue in here. So this would be more akin to an ultramarine blue. And that's a pretty good, test it out. It's quite a good blue color, maybe a little bit lighter. A little bluebell color. All right, so now if we want this color, and I'm going to sort of tap this just little tiny bluebells. Getting smaller as you go backwards. And I'm not going to be like super detailed careful about this. I want to, I want to give, I want to just kind of go a bit crazy with this. I need a better brush than this, actually. I need a round brush. For this, I need a round brush. And put a little bit more blue in here. It sort of can be hard to get the blue to read or show up. So in order for that to happen, you need a little bit of the opposite color. So you might go, oh, the opposite color of blue is orange. And you might be right in terms of, the classic mixing that you find when you go to your store and you buy this wheel, and it's a mixing wheel. But I favor a bit of a different one, which is called the RGB wheel, or the red, green, blue, which is the wheel of light. And I like the opposites that I find there a little bit better, and I find them more workable. So I'm going to now use a little bit of this very kind of yellowy green. I'm mixing a very kind of yellow green. And if I start to put some little bits of this rather almost yellow, I have to go almost yellow to counterpoint the blue. And I'll just make a bit of yellowy green and white so I can really get it to read. There we go. So this is starting to make me a bit happier. I'll just kind of keep going here. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a slightly kind of in color, and I'm going to make this a little bit darker as we go up the hill. So we're going up the hill here. And in order to kind of make this hill look a bit more realistic, I am going to put some yellow and some black together. And I'm going to go behind the hill. And then here I can sort of start to put in a few little other, kind of feel like I'm looking through the forest now, and maybe looking at some trees back here, maybe right further down in the forest, and it's getting a little bit darker as it forward. And I'm using just black here just to kind of get things moving for this one in front. And then I think I need this to go further down here like this. There we go. So this is sort of giving me the impression of moving up the hill, some little trees kind of in the distance. Some in the foreground, some in the distance, like this. That one I've got to take right off the top there. And this guy's coming forward a bit. Okay. All right. Needs a third color. So now I'm starting to feel a little bit better about this. I feel I've sort of captured a little bit more of this lovely kind of bluey color. And I can even maybe put a little bit of a few darker ones here now. Not too dark, but I need a bit of darkness, a bit of contrast to make this work. There we go. Feeling the bluebells starting here. And there we go. You have that solid bluebell up there. Yep. We go, and I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. I kind of like leaving things a little bit incomplete like this. And now I'm going to go to another color altogether, which you might surprise you, but I'm going to go to sort of an orangey color. And I'm going to pick out, just make sure I've got this right, yeah. I'm going to pick out here the light hitting the right side of this tree and sort of exposing the tree a little bit so I can see some of it. And then this third color of a sort of a reddy orange, I think, and then, you know, I can sort of intimate that this is the bark happening through here. Bit of bark. And then I'm going to go down this side also of this tree. I can go quite dark, quite bright on this. So I'm just constructing here. I know there's light coming down from the right, and I'm going to indicate that. Now, what's happening is this third color is also improving my chances of, and I'm going to put this here. It's like, this is the roots here of this, and it coming up here a little bit. So I'm going to put a little bit of this orange in here. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to put in the background here, this is me laboring up the hill. I'm not gonna, can't really see too much of me, but I'm gonna put a little bit of orange rim light to kind of pop it out. And I've walked all the way up this hill. I remember it so well. I must have been 10. And I left all by myself. And I went all to the top of the hill. And when I got to the top, there was a beautiful, wonderful, put a little bit of light behind me, just so you can see that it's me. And light sort of dappling through the trees back here. And you can see I'm just sort of, just got a single brush and I'm just dapping, you know, it's just, you know, just keep it simple. And then I'm going to put a few more whites in here so I can just really highlight this little, few little flowers there. And there you have it. I may do more to this later. Not sure whether I'm 100% done, but you know, one of the things to do, to be, one of the things again that, you know, warning about from our friend Cezanne is, you know, don't overpaint. Like you can ruin it so easily. Like if it's sort of kind of feeling okay, just walk away. And you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. Thanks for watching.